It seems to me, though, that when we can't go at 12:30, the blame is on all sides, on many sides. Many sides. I blame the internets. I blame the inventor of the internets, Al Gore. And I guess the Nazis are at fault? Hi, welcome back to Kevin Pollak's Chat Show. I'm not Chat Show. I'm Samm Levine. Gotcha again. Kevin is, I don't know where he is this week. I think he's in New York State. Wherever he is
Rochester. He was in Rochester.
It's in Rochester, New York? All right. He's in. I didn't want to give away his exact whereabouts.
Well,
but I guess
he's not there anymore.
Yeah, you're right. He's not there anymore.
He's back. He's on landing at LAX.
He has flown the coop from New York State. But in sincerity, he is not in Texas and that part of the country, which just took the brunt of Hurricane Harvey and is now dealing with horrible rain and flooding. And as Tony Danza would say, our thoughts and prayers are with you. I will just say my thoughts and well wishes are with you, since my prayers will do nothing at this point. You need to find higher ground and dry land, and I hope you do. But if you're somehow watching from there and you have power, are you in for a treat today? More on that in a second. Hi, Jamie. How are you today?
Howdy. I think Hurricane Harvey is kind of an odd name for a hurricane, because when I think Harvey, I think of the fictitious rabbit.
Yes.
So it's
from
like,
the Jimmy
does it
Stewart
even
film.
exactly? I'm like, so does this hurricane even exist? It very much exists.
It very much exists. Yes.
But I just think Harvey's interesting because that's what I think of. Or maybe it's yet another thing that Steve Harvey needs to be involved in.
Ooh, I think you're absolutely right.
like he's got to start like a relief fund or something.
Yes, Steve Harvey presents Hurricane Harvey Relief. The tour. Well, I'm thrilled to have you here, and I'm going to make the intro very short because I'm very excited about our guest today, and I wrote her this little intro. So here goes. My guest today may be second-generation show business, but there was definitely no nepotism involved in her success, amassing an astonishing 191 credits over the last 30-plus years and showing no signs of slowing down anytime soon. It's safe to say she's earned her place in Hollywood. A tremendously talented voice actor, stage actor, screen actor, and improviser, you've enjoyed her work in too many projects to name, 191 in fact. Now, she claims to enjoy children and mothering, so it's no small surprise she's played mom to such notable thespians as Seth Green, DJ Qualls, and more recently, me. Please welcome the fictional Jewish mother we should all be so lucky to have, Mindy Sterling.
That was good.
Oh, thank you.
There's no way I would have done that much. You checked my resume? Oh, I think somebody's lying.
100. I always have this just in case you doubt me. You have 191 IMDb credits.
Wow.
And they are
I'm impressed with myself.
Lengthy. You have not been asleep on the job since you got into this this game, this business of show.
Wow.
And so I want to know about that. So as I mentioned in your intro, your father, Dick Sterling,
yes,
was a singer, and he was also a comedian. He used to tour with Shecky Green.
He was partners with Shecky Green for years. This is when I was very, very little.
Sure.
And then I think Shecky moved on to New York, but my dad had a family, so my dad kind of stayed behind. And then he became partners with Sammy Shore, Mitzi Shore.
Oh, sure.
Because they lived right around the block from us in Miami, Florida.
Whoa.
Isn't that weird? And so he became partners with him, and then I don't know what happened, and that ended. And then he became partners with this man, Ray Baumel.
Okay.
And then that happened.
You know, things happen.
And then he kind of did his own thing. So he did a lot of the condo circuits in Miami. He did one-man shows and stuff. So he kept himself, pretty busy as well. So yeah.
But now the internet claims to say that you are from Paterson, New Jersey, which is also my home state. But you're making a face that says like, I was born there, but I'm not really from there.
Well, I mean, I guess I don't know, what does it mean where you're from? Is where you grew up? I didn't grow up there. I was born there, don't have any memory of it. Moved when I was very young. So I'm from Miami, Florida, because that's really where I grew up.
Okay. Then
is that okay to say that?
Absolutely. My IMDb says I'm born in Chicago, which is true. But we moved there when I was very young, and I would really say I was raised in New Jersey. I'm from New Jersey.
So the same here?
Yeah, okay. So that's not that weird. I feel like a lot of people have that. Yeah. People have children, and then they're like, oh, I didn't realize how terrible this place is. We should get out of here for the sake of our child. And then they do. Happens all the time.
Well, I'm sure it was because of my dad wanted to be in the business, and that was not the place for him.
No, and also nothing against Patterson, but get the hell out of there if you can.
I did a con once in Parsippany, New York, and the people there found out where I was from, and I said, and they said, "Oh God, it's a good thing you got out." So they were not, very fond of
No,
Patterson.
You guys remember that movie, Lean on Me?
Is that okay?
So not to be confused with Stand By Me, very different film.
Very different film.
Yes.
Nope.
Very different.
This is Morgan Freeman, Lean on Me. Check it out if you'd like to see a harrowing story about Patterson, New Jersey in the 80s. So your dad is a singer, comic, but according to the research, you considered yourself a shy kid.
Oh, totally.
Yeah. So
I was totally shy. I think probably being raised, my dad was a little intimidating.
Sure.
And my mom, she danced. She was a dancer. She danced. She had many jobs because they were divorced when I was very young.
Okay.
So my mother worked in a doctor's office, a ear, nose, and throat doctor. So anytime I sneezed, I had a pill shoved down my throat.
Great.
And to this day, I do not wait. I take medication immediately.
Very smart.
I don't understand why people go, oh, I'll get better later. No, you won't.
You will not.
Take this goddamn pill.
Yep.
And then my mother worked at night to support us. She was a dancer on Miami Beach.
Ooh.
They had the women that had all of the headpieces. They were showgirls.
Yeah.
And they would walk around like this, half naked. Da 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 with the showgirls. And then they had the dancers. And my mother was a dancer, so she wasn't naked.
I've seen Casino. I'm aware.
What?
I've seen the movie Casino. I'm aware of the joke.
Yes, very much.
She knows what's happened in Miami.
And so my mother was very animated, like me. Mm-hmm. So I kind of came from that environment. But in school, I remember I was insecure, I was shy, and I don't know how it all happened, but I realized, like when if you were in class and you had to get up and you had to do a book report, or you had to, oh my God, I'm going to talk in front of people. I don't know what to do. And then I realized, wow, hanging out with the thespians, and I don't even remember how that all happened for me, I realized I could be somebody else. It didn't have to be me.
That's right.
So the first play that I did was in the 6th grade, and it was The Mikado.
Oh.
That was like a musical, like a big deal.
Yeah.
Yes. So I played one of the 3 Little Maids.
Okay.
Does anybody know about The Mikado?
I mean, tangentially, but I could not cite any specifics about it.
Well, we know this song because it was used in the Cape Fear episode of The Simpsons. That's why we know this song.
Yes.
3 Little Maids.
Yes, they're singing on their way to Terror Lake.
That's right.
And I think I was something like Peepo or Po-Peep or something weird like that.
Okay.
But I loved it. And and so I must have gotten the bug from my dad and the dancing from my mom, and just, I love the theater, so yeah.
And so, let's see, 6th grade, so you're 12 years old, somewhere around there. I think, that's what I was.
I wish I had a picture of that.
Aww.
I don't think I do. My mother saved everything. My mother saved more pictures and duplicates and triplicates, but I don't think I have one of that. Oh, we're gonna have to do some searching.
There's a reason storage space exists. You strike me as a gal who does not throw everything out.
Me? So wrong.
Oh wait, I take it back. You throw everything out. I remember now working with you. You are a very minimalist person.
Yes. My mother kept everything.
Yes.
I am like immediate. I go through my closet every week.
That's right.
I don't keep a lot of stuff.
Yes.
But what I do, this is like a little secret about me that is not going to be a secret anymore.
Nope.
I'll buy something, like at Ross or Marshall's, like a piece of furniture, and I will put it where I want it, but I'll leave the price on it in case I want to return it. But then I forget to take the price tags off. So there's always a price tag on something that I seem to find much later.
That's, you know what? If anything, that helps you to identify inflation.
That is so true.
Like you're sitting on a chair, you're like, this is a lovely armchair. What do you think a chair like this would go for today? $600-$700? Hey, look at that! $180? What in the?
Oh my God, I love that thought. That's so true.
Yeah, it'll give you a real idea of just how much more expensive it is to live these days. Kids had it so much better in the early aughts.
Oh my God.
I'm similar in the way that I will not. I just found like a bag of receipts that I like, because I won't, like if I don't try stuff on, I just like keep the receipts, and I just found like I was like, I gotta. It's the same.
But you know what? I mean, I have some receipts too, but if you charge it, it's all on there.
That's true.
So nowadays, you don't have to, they go, do you have your card?
Well, I come from a poker house. There's a lot of cash. There's a lot of cash being cycled through.
You know what? That's sort of the other thing too. Oh, this is another weird secret.
Uh-oh.
We're letting it all out.
I do like to leave a little bit of cash in every little thing. Like, I mean, if I get like $100, if I get like $100 residual check, I'll cash it, but I'll put it like in a drawer, or I'll put it in
a
box. No, I haven't done that. I put it in a box, or I put it in a jewelry thing in a drawer, or I just always seem to have a little bit of cash in different areas. I don't know.
This is
mean to me, you.
Kevin does the same thing.
Really?
Yes.
And what is the mean? Does he have a meaning behind that? I just love the idea of looking at something and going, I have $100 over here.
I think he's trying to hide it from like others. And no, I know where stuff is. But me and others, I guess, himself and others, I don't know.
I think maybe he's planning for the day the IRS comes down, and he's going to have a little bit stashed away here and there that they'll never look for.
Well, somebody always told me, I think you growing up or something like that, always have $500 under your bed or something, your mattress.
What if you keep a mattress in a safe?
Mattress in the safe?
That's what J-Mac does. That's what Jason does.
Uh-oh.
That seems like a very large safe.
It's an Acme.
I see. I take full credit for that. That boy did not have a safe until I said, get a safe.
Do you hear this, Jason? Get it.
God damn it. I learned from
He
Biff
has two
Tannen.
safes. There's a decoy, apparently.
I learned from old Biff Tannen. Get a safe.
I love that name, Biff Tannen.
Well, that's Back to the Future. If only I had come up with that. I think we have Bob Gale and Robert Zemeckis to thank for that name.
Okay.
Okay, so.
I don't know where. I went to several different places. I'm sure I got right off your subjects.
Not at all.
Okay, my mother.
No, I'm fine.
Okay.
So we're talking.
Things, random things pop into my head, and I just want to tell you, they have to come out because I will forget them because I have a horrible memory. Go.
And this is what makes you an ideal guest for this show. You jump all over the place. Good. And random thoughts are always welcome.
Fantastic.
So you're 6th grade, 12-ish years old, you're doing Mikado, you feel like, hey, this feels natural, this feels better than being the
These are my
shy.
peeps.
These are my peeps.
People, yeah.
Okay, so then what was the progression from there? Did you think as you got into high school, were you thinking towards college or the performing arts in college? Because there's not a whole lot that I was able to find between that age and you finding your way to the Groundlings.
No, wow, really?
Yeah.
Well, okay, so in high school I did, whatever theater.
Sure.
But I did, everybody was getting ready to graduate and they were all going to go off to college. And I was like, I don't want to go to college.
Mm-hmm.
What am I going to do? I just want to act.
Yeah.
So I kind of was like, and through this whole thing, my family, my mother had remarried, so with my stepfather, they were always incredibly supportive. I don't even remember ever hearing, no, this is what you need to do.
Right.
Except my mother once said, I think I was in high school, she said, whatever you do, take typing so you can have something to fall back on. So I did take a typing class, and I learned how to type so I could work in an office. But I was like, wow, I guess I should go to college or something. So I just went to a 2-year junior college.
Sure.
And the first year I took, well, you gotta, what's your what are you going to study? What are you going to what do you call it? Major thing in. And it was like, acting, or I guess I'll be an acting teacher. And so the first year I took, theater, and then I had to take a couple of things you have to take, and I flunked everything but theater.
Right.
And it was like, and my mom and dad were like, all right, well, maybe don't take anything else, just take acting. I mean, hello. This is my mother and father.
What a gift.
So that's all I did the second year. It was just like I just took what I wanted. It wasn't about majoring in anything. It was just, I think they just wanted to keep me busy and do what I wanted to do. So I did that. Then that was done, and I needed to.
And you're still in Miami at this point?
Yes.
Okay.
I think I left Miami, it was like 22 or 23.
Okay.
And then I did local plays there. I got work, but then I did a dinner theater, but we toured.
Oh.
So we literally would go and we would go to a place, a dinner theater, set up the set, perform, knock it down that night, and go somewhere else.
Wow.
That was insane, right?
Like a summer stock kind of thing, yeah.
Yeah, remember that? Wow. So I did that for a little bit, a little theater, and then when I was in junior college, I met this guy that I ended up having a relationship with. We were, a boyfriend and girlfriend. He was going to go. He wanted to be an actor too, and he was going to go to LA. And he said, "Let me go first, and then I'll send you."
Go first.
Okay, yeah, let me go first. I'll get, little. Yeah. All right.
So, like he's spelunking. I want to go first, make sure it's safe before I throw that rope down.
Maybe I didn't even think about that. It was like he was 5 years my senior, so of course I was just like this little shy little, ingenue puppy dog, and I was like, okay, whatever you want. And then, so that's what happened. So I left. I guess around 22, 23, never lived away from home, never been away from home.
Oof.
I was, very, very protected by my mom and dad. So that was the most difficult time I'd ever had. I had moved away with this, came to LA with this guy, and it was the roughest year of my whole life.
Oh.
Just because I didn't have my family.
Yeah.
But I did have people out here who knew. I had a cousin and I had relatives, but still, it's really hard on me. And and I did theater here, little community theater. I did a lot of community theater. Got a commercial agent. Went to the LA Connection. That was my first introduction to improvisation.
Is that the theater in Sherman Oaks?
Yes.
Wow, still there.
They did have one in like Sunset and is it Crossroads? Not Crossroads.
Crescent?
No, Sunset and something.
Okay.
They did have one there first.
Yeah.
Went there, met all these incredible people that were connected to the Groundlings. And then they had said, you should come to the Groundlings.
And so that's how it happened. You met the right people who said, this is where you belong.
You got to meet people. You got to get out there. That's one person connects you with another person.
Yeah.
And, so that's
in the old days, my mother, when she was single and living in New York, her roommate would always say to her, you're not going to meet anybody sitting in the living room. You got to go out and meet people if you want to.
Did you sit in the living room a lot?
I didn't really, but that adage is no longer true because now you can meet everyone from your living room if you have the internet.
Well, my son, that's unfortunately, but my son does that. His whole life is, I love him dearly, but his whole life is on the computer. Yeah. And those are the friends that he cultivates. But he did tell me today, I was so excited, Mom, these two people are going to come next week, and we're going to go to lunch. Fantastic. What can I do? What can I do to help you? But that's his life.
Yeah, that's that whole generation. I missed that by like 10-ish years. So even to me, it still seems insane.
The internet still is a freaky thing to me. It's I love a lot of it. I don't love a lot of it. Right now, I got to tell you, the Facebook stuff and everybody just going off on politics it's just I don't know. I'm all about, not that I live in this fantasy world of puppy dogs and babies, but I do. But that's what I want to be able to go to Facebook and look at things that make me smile. I don't want to go to Facebook and get sad or angry or mad. if I want to do that, then I'll go to a different site. But that's just me.
Yeah.
I just post a lot of animal videos and babies.
That's perfect. We need more of.
So
honestly.
if you don't like it, then don't look at my stuff,
Now,
because that's most of that.
Do you have animal videos containing babies?
Yes.
Okay, good.
And these aren't any that I make up.
No.
These are things that people send me.
to you, and then you
and then
say
I
this
pass
is good.
them. Yeah, so I am only just, passing.
You're a curator, really.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yes, of course. Okay, so this is pre-internet days. All your cohorts say, Mindy, go to the Groundlings Theater, sign up for some classes. You'd fit in great there. And you said, okay.
Yes. Well, I first went between LA Connection and the Groundlings. There was another class that was sort of in the middle, and it was Bill Steinkellner, who was associated with the Groundlings. And Bill Steinkellner had his own little workshop. So I went there first.
Oh, okay.
And got to know and did more improv. And then the Tom Maxwell, who ran the Groundlings at the time many years ago, he taught some classes there, so he got to know me. So when it was time for me to go to the Groundlings, I didn't have to audition because he had known my work and he'd seen my work and he'd worked with me. So he put me into the second level, which was intermediate. Because back then there was basic, intermediate, and advanced, and then the Sunday company, and then the main company.
Right.
So I was just put into the intermediate.
That's wonderful. And it's my understanding that, I don't know if they were in necessarily your class, but at the same time you were there, some of your fellow classmates were Phil Hartman, Edie McClurg, and John Lovitz.
Edie McClurg and Phil Hartman, those were the people that when I went to the Groundlings, I saw they were performing. They were already Groundlings. So those are the people that I looked at and went, oh my God, I want to do this. I want to do this. John Lovitz and Kathy Griffin, they were in my group. So they moved, I think they moved on with me to become Groundlings. I think we all did that at the same, the three of us did that at the same time.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's quite something. You can, anytime I'm in Groundlings Theater or Second City, they have all the, the graduating class photos. And if you ever make it to LA, folks, and just go see a show, because all those class photos are in the hallways and the lobbies.
Well, the same thing. Second City has amazing people. You go through their hallway and you're oh my god. And the same thing, with the Groundlings. I mean, I taught for years. I taught incredible people. I mean, it's like what a gift. I mean, Lisa Kudrow and I were writing scenes together. We were in the Groundlings together. I taught her. I taught Jennifer Coolidge, Mike McDonald. Kristen Wiig, I did not teach, but she babysat for me, for my son.
That's fantastic.
I did not have Melissa McCarthy, but Sherry O'Terry, Chris Kattan. I mean, it's always lovely to see people that you were a part of, not to say that I made them who they were, because those are people that you would go, oh, there's something special about this person. There's something... so... But
also just helping to provide such a wonderfully creative environment for them to grow in.
Absolutely,
and it's definitely hats off to you and the rest of the people at the Groundlings for that. You're still active with Groundlings? You still occasionally?
I do. Occasionally I go and do a Thursday night show called Cooking with Gas.
Yeah.
So it's short form, all improv. I love it. I love the group there. So yeah, and that really just keeps me exercised, and I just love improv. I would much rather do improv than a scripted piece because I just can't remember a lot of things.
Perfect. The Larry David route. Yeah. Just go that way.
Yeah.
Now, I have had the pleasure of seeing 3 different versions of a very famous Groundlings production called Beverly Winwood Presents.
Yes!
The
you saw 3 different ones?
I saw 3 different ones over about 5 years.
Yes.
and I want to say you were in at least 2 of them.
I should have been in all 3 unless I was
you weren't in all 3.
Because I was in all of them.
Yeah, you might have been working 1 year, but it doesn't matter. Now, I could talk about it, but I would not be able to do it justice. Can you please explain to our viewers and listeners at home what Beverly Winwood Presents, the Actors Showcase?
Oh, God. One of, I think, the all-time favorites of not only actors, but people in the business who crave it and are always asking me, are they going to do more? When is it coming back? Well, Tony Sepulveda, who is a casting
director now.
Director, means and it's his baby, and he put together. There were there probably still are, but I've done some of these actor showcases where actors get together and they put on a scene that they've worked on, and they've got industry people in the audience.
Right, so it's a bunch of actors who maybe pool their money together.
Yes.
They'll invite a bunch of different agents.
Yes.
And all of them will have prepared these long monologues or important scenes in the hopes of, if they all do it in front of all these agents at the end of the night, a few of them will get, hey, I want to be your agent, and they'll get representation.
Or get feedback, stuff like that.
Exactly.
So they're very, I did one once called something like Out to Lunch, where we literally, the actors pulled together, we would serve lunch for the casting people and agents and do our little scenes. So I thought that was kind of a cool idea. But so anyway, so he puts together, so now he's got actors and he pairs us up. And he told us what we should do. If we came up with an idea, he would okay it. But the first year, I did it with Tim Bagley, one of my favorite people of all times, and we did Elephant Man. Did you see that?
I didn't see that.
So Tim Bagley does his character called the Captain, where he's dressed, he's got a captain's hat on, and he's in a wheelchair, and he's kind of paralyzed in some way, and he's had like a heart attack. He's talking about this anyway, and he can't really move much. And I play Winnie, who is she's really, really, really nervous and really she's a horrible actress. And somebody told her to really do this, and the woman Beverly Winwood has put this group together, and teaches them, and it's all inappropriate, it's horrible, and gives them these notes and tells them what they should be doing. She's all wrong, and we are all not able to put anything worth anything out there because we're not good. So there's these groups of people. And then one year I did, with Mike Hitchcock, we did Hair. We did the musical Hair, and we did like a medley, and we were brother and sister, but we kissed a little too much. And then we did, and then another year I did with him Wicked, where he was Elphaba, and I was a very, very sort of, I don't know, not Jewish, but she was, kind of an older woman who, most of my characters are older woman who really didn't have any talent at all, and she was, what's her name?
From Wicked?
Yes. Glinda.
Yes, Glinda.
She was Glinda, and she sang like this. And then recently, a couple of years ago, I did with David John, we did Aladdin.
Oh.
Friend Like Me. So we did a dance, but we were having sort of a fight on stage.
Right.
So I guess I was brought in to do a lot of the musical numbers, which I loved. But so it's just these amazing people. It's putting together, making horrible choices.
Deliberately, it is the worst case scenario if you're an agent and you show up at one of these things.
And they come out and they introduce themselves.
Right.
And they also, and then the best thing is your program.
That's right.
So the audience has these programs of 8x10 headshots, but they're copied, so they're not real, and they're resumes, and they are the funniest things. We all got to do our own thing. One of the funniest things I've ever read. I mean, still to this day, I think that in itself is is a whole show.
I believe I've saved all of the programs I ever got from the Beverly Winwood Presents, and I will occasionally refine them as I'm cleaning and moving, and I will sit down and read them cover to cover because they are hysterical. And are there Beverly Winwood shows still?
No, I mean, we haven't done one in a while. So usually we'll do it for charity or something like that. So we haven't done it in a while. But I think Susan Yeagley played Beverly Winwood. I think she is on Twitter as Beverly Winwood. Because every now and then I'll read something and it'll be something, she will give acting advice. And it's just terrible. It's just insane. But I don't know if, I wonder if you go to, if you look on the internet, if you can find something on it, maybe pictures or something. I don't know.
Okay. Well, anyway, I encourage anyone who is interested in live comedy or improv, or even though there's not, it's mostly scripted what you guys are doing out there, but even so, check out Beverly Winwood Presents the Actors Showcase, whatever you can find. It is one of my favorite memories of seeing live comedy in Los Angeles. So moving on to more recent things, I didn't mention this in my introduction because I wanted to bring it up. 2017 has been kind of a banner year for you, not because you received your first Emmy nomination, but because you are a double Emmy nominee, nominated in the most comedic sense against yourself.
It's insane.
You are nominated twice in the same category.
I don't know if anybody has ever had that, Sam.
I know people have been nominated in the same category against themselves before, but certainly I don't think it's ever happened in their first nomination. Yeah, because what'll happen is someone will do 2 miniseries.
Oh, right, okay.
But I don't know that it's ever happened to someone as their first 2 nominations in the Primetime Emmys.
Yeah, and this is a new category. This is Best
Short-Form Comedy or Drama Series, Best Actress in a Short-Form Comedy or Drama Series, which is a great new category.
Well, it started last year.
Yeah.
And what is so great about it, I remember years ago, again, we're talking about the internet, and I remember years ago my agent, Mark Scroggs, saying to me, oh, yeah, well, they want you to come in and read something for some Amazon thing, or all this stuff that you're like, wait a minute, but Amazon, that's the internet. Yeah, they're doing things on the internet now. What? I don't want to watch anything on the internet. Why would anybody want to do that?
Right.
And then, so to be nominated twice for that kind of work and in that kind of media is pretty amazing.
It's incredible. And so the 2 nominations are for Con Men, which we'll talk about in a second, which is a very popular, awesome show. And then the other one is, and I want to really enunciate this, Sex and Execs. And that's sex, S-E-C-S, short for secretaries.
Yes.
Sex and Execs. And you play Sherla, who is one of the sex.
Yes.
And so I didn't know a lot about this one, and so I looked into it. It's got a hell of a cast. Sandra Bernhard, our friend of the show, Parv Chena.
Yeah.
Could you tell us a little bit about Sex and Execs?
It is Stan Zimmerman also co-wrote it and directed it. And it just shows the perspectives from the secretary's point of view and the executive's point of view.
Yeah, in a business setting.
Exactly. Yeah. So it shows us how we bond and how we deal with each other and how we deal with the execs, and then what they think of us and how they deal with us. So they've done. And the other really cool thing is just the first all-lesbian, Telefilms is the first all-lesbian production company. And they've done several different shows, but this is the one that, it's nice to know that I'm helping them get a platform and getting them out there. The nicest people to work with, the most loveliest of people.
That's fantastic.
And so that's kind of a cool thing.
Yeah.
And I play Sherla. She's the veteran of, she's like the mama of the secretaries, and she smokes a little weed, and she knows her place. She's very content. She keeps things moving. Her boss is Parv.
Yep.
And so she likes what she's doing. She's okay with what she's doing. So she's there to kind of just keep things all cool and okay.
Yeah. That's well, I'm definitely going to check that out before the Emmys. But I also want to talk for sure about Con Man, which this is a show that over the last year or so, I'm hearing more and more people start to catch on to. And so Con Man is Alan Tudyk, good old Tudyk, as we like to call him.
Also up for Best.
Oh, yes.
Yes, Best Actor in the same
also
category
nominated,
as me. Boom.
Right. Oh, boy. Why, yes, but luckily, well, same category, but on the actor side.
Yes. Yes, I know. Oh, gosh, I know.
So in Con Man, do you want to tell people what Con Man is, or should I tell people what Con Man is, and then we can talk about
you do it, because I might just babble too much.
All right. So Con Man is an amazing take on a very tiny world, which is the convention circuit world. And so Alan's character plays Ray. Oh God, what's his last name? Ray Barely. Nearly. Jesus, of course.
My character always mispronounces it. Nearly.
That's right. So Ray Nearly. So he's a guy he's an actor who was on a big show some years ago, and then the show ended, and then his co-star on the show, played by Nathan Fillion, went on to become a huge A-lister, whereas he has not been so fortunate. And so for him, the convention circuit has been his main source of income and getting work and staying busy. And so while he's doing this convention circuit, Alan Tudyk himself, who of course was on Firefly, found that the most interesting things about conventions were not the interactions with the fans, but everything else going on behind the scenes at these conventions. So that's what Con Man is about. It's about all of the goings on when you're not interacting with the fans, and the crazy people who are running these conventions, and the crazy actors you see at all the same conventions. It's like a touring group of, B and C actors from the last 25 years, all just trying to get by. And there are some wonderful stories. And so I can't believe it took this long for someone to say, hey, I think there's a show here. I think there's a real idea.
He's been working on this for years.
Yeah.
And we finally got it sold to Sci-Fi.
Yep.
So September 9th, they're going to show, I think they're going to do a big marathon thing. They're going to show for the first 2 seasons.
Right.
And I'm so glad there's a place that you don't have to pay extra.
Yes.
Because that'll make it a little easier and I think accessible for people to watch.
Yeah.
And I get to play Bobby, his horrific narcissist talent manager.
Well, you're his booking agent.
Yes, and then it goes into and then something happens and it's like, well, I would help you out if I could be your talent manager as well.
Right.
All right, be my talent manager. And it's like, yes. Right. So then so I get him to do all these cons to try to resurrect his career, and this is how he could make it. And he's always so good at playing put upon, and he's down and out, and he's so good at that. And literally, he's always looking at me just like this, like, what? And I'm very confident in what I do, and I'm a little crazy and eccentric, and every episode I wear a different wig, for sure, what she's going to look like.
Right.
And and she's, she steals money, she eats, all of the food, she takes bites out of the fruit baskets, she sleeps with people, she just has, no sense of So then she helps him. She finds out, oh my God, they want you for a certain part. She reads with him. She'll do anything she can because she wants to be in it too.
And that's my favorite part about Bobby, is that she considers herself
an actress.
Right. This is just a side gig.
She did porno. She did porno, and not very well.
Right.
And
so she takes any opportunity she can to try to tag on to Ray's acting career, and also at a convention will often set up her own table just to the side of his.
And nobody's there, but she still hoping for that. Yeah, she really is insane in the loveliest of ways, and he feels there's no one else. I mean, that he needs somebody to represent him and whatnot. So first 2 seasons were one of the best. I just love working with these people. I love working with Alan. This was like one of the most fun parts I've had, and to be able to look different each time and just recreate that for myself. And have fun with who she is and the balls she has, and she really just doesn't have an idea of how horrible she could be.
Well, you do it magnificently, and that is a very well-earned Emmy nomination. And having only seen Con Man and not seen Sex and Execs, you certainly have my vote. Although I am not an Academy member, so
I know, either am I. Can you believe that?
You have to be now, don't you? If you're nominated, doesn't that automatically get you in?
No, you have to pay.
Oh, well, there's always a catch.
You have to pay. So I haven't done it yet. Yes, I know.
All right.
And tomorrow is tomorrow, Monday, is the last day for voting.
Oh, boy.
So if you're watching this and you are an Emmy voter, make sure you vote for me.
Please do it. Even if you haven't seen Con Man, just take my word for it. She is fantastic.
Thank you very much.
And I know our fans who are watching going, well, I want to watch some of Con Man, but I don't have to pay. I don't have sci-fi. Catch this, fans. If you are an Amazon Prime member and you did not hear this from me, if you're on an Amazon Prime member, Comic-Con HQ is the web company that's currently hosting the show. They will give you a 7-day free trial if you are an Amazon Prime member. The episodes of Con Man are like 10 to 12 minutes long.
They're really short, and they all link up, but they're all,
it's long stories, but they're quick and easy to watch. You could tear through the first 2 seasons in an evening. Get the thing, check them out, go, that was great, and cancel the membership. You didn't hear that from me. You didn't hear that from me. But that is, go to comicconhq.com or check it out on amazon.com. Do yourself a favor and check out Con Man. It is fantastic. I said we're going to jump around. The next thing I want to talk about.
I love that you do this.
This? You like this?
It's like, okay, so next I'm going to.
I want to keep you very involved.
Are we going to talk about our. Okay.
Oh, we're definitely going to talk about that. I have a whole laundry list of stuff.
Wow.
And I always do this just in case, like I have something written down. It's like, they didn't want to talk about that long. So I've got, but you've been great. You're happy to talk about everything.
Oh,
which
everything.
Makes you a dream guest.
Oh my God.
Dream guest
a horrible mother.
So we had Janet Varney.
Yes.
On the show not long ago. And of course, you know Janet from your work on The Legend of Korra, which is a huge show. You want to talk about convention popular show, talk about The Legend of Korra, which leads us to all of your voice work, really. When you get right down to it. It's hard to single out projects, but your voice resume is epic.
Really?
It is an epic voice resume.
No, I have just no idea.
Come on, you have to have some.
No, I think you're always, because you do things and I think you're always going, why aren't I doing more?
Yeah.
Right? Don't you think?
It feels that way only because when you're doing it in the booth and you're a professional, you're in and out in 2 hours, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
You're in there, you nail it.
Or literally a minute, depending on what you have to do.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I've been in the booth for 10 minutes. And
haven't you walked out, I literally will go, I am so grateful and blessed. This is like just scary how fun and easy this is.
Absolutely.
Yet we've worked hard to get to this place, so I don't want anybody to think, aren't you? Little,
no, and I had Maurice LaMarche on the show,
yes.
And everybody loves Maurice.
Oh, God,
and I mean, we talked at length about how it's about 100 or so actors who do 90% of the voice acting you hear everywhere across the board.
Well, there is such a small group. Getting into that group has been
That's
difficult.
The challenge. The hard part isn't being in the booth. It's getting into that group.
It's getting into that group because they can use these people over and over. And casting people have their favorites and producers have their favorites because they know these people. And this is all they do. Mm-hmm. I do everything.
Yeah.
I do, stage and commercials, and I want to do everything because I love it all.
Yeah.
So I want to be a part of that group and this group and that group.
Yeah. Yeah. And so The Legend of Korra, that's a very fantasy heavy show, but some of the other voice stuff you've done a lot of video game stuff. You do a lot of, I noticed a lot of, would they call it loop group or additional voices?
Yes, you do. So a loop group is,
which I've done myself. And
that's when you get that call. Fun. It's so much fun. It's a long day.
Yeah.
But loop groups, for people that don't know, is after a film has been put together by all of the the actors who they've cast and whatnot. Then they have to come back in, and then they have to kind of fill in all the background stuff that's happening. The people, maybe a baby crying, maybe a couple talking about dinner. So it's just all the incidental stuff, and you get to come in and do those little voices and and you're with incredible, powerful, amazing voiceover actors. So you have a day of just chatting and talking, and so I think I did the Minions. And Monster.
Yeah. Oh no, you've worked with the Pixar people many a time.
It
was so much fun. So
well, it's all here.
Yeah.
It's all here. Go online and look this up. It's insanity.
But you know how cool it is when you get that phone call and it's just, yes, I'm there.
Oh, 100. I will do it every time I'm asked, because it's also, you get to be part of the true last rewrite of the movie.
Yes.
Because and Patton Oswalt has talked about this in his stand-up, where the movie's done. It's in the can, and then they'll bring in a bunch of writers and go, how can we make this better? And they're like, what do you mean? You're not going to do any reshoots? Well, can we add any off-camera audio lines to make it funnier? And so then they'll write a bunch of extra lines that are just shouted by random people off camera. And so that's what the loop group will have to do sometimes, is, you'll hear something drop in a background of a scene that wasn't funny, and then it'll be a loop group actor who says, yeah, just put that anywhere.
Yes! You're right. Oh my God, that's so perfectly stated. Yeah, that's perfect.
It's really the last.
And by the way, that was a great voice.
Oh, thank you very much. You can see why I work all
really
the time.
Is true like that.
Yeah. Do you have a preference of genre when it comes to voice acting? Do you like fantasy shows? Do you like the straight comedy shows, or are you? Whatever you're doing that week is your favorite?
I think it's great to do a little bit of everything. I did something for Breadwinners, and I played this annoying mother of one of the characters. And she was like this! because the characters were like that, so I thought, all right, well, I'm his mother! So that's fun. And then for Cora Lynn Beifong, she's the lieutenant. She's in charge.
Yeah.
And so, how fun to be able to do something so different.
So different than anything you could ever do on camera.
Yeah. Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, that is certainly a fun part of getting to do voice stuff. Well, I have to put a pin in that for just a minute.
Okay.
While we thank the good people.
Yes, go on.
The good people over at the Littleton Coin Company.
Ooh.
Hey, let me ask you a question. If you inherited an old coin collection or an accumulation of coins and currency that you're not sure what to do with, Littleton Coin is here to help. For over 70 years, Littleton Coin has been helping people just like you sell their coins and currency. As an industry leader in collectible coins and currency, Littleton can pay you more. Plus, in 2016, the company's president, David Sundman, received the ANA, that's the American Numismatic Association, Dealer of the Year Award, and Littleton Coin was honored with the Better Business Bureau Torch Award for Marketplace Ethics. So these are people you can trust and rely on. Now, whether you're an experienced collector or someone who just needs help identifying what you have in your collection, Littleton Coin Company is the place to sell your U.S. coins and currency. Here's how to get in touch with them. You can give them a call toll-free at 877-857-7850, or you can find them online at littletoncoin.com/chat show to learn more. And if you go to littletoncoin.com, make sure you add the /chat show so they will know we sent you there, and then we can keep doing this little podcast for you. Thank you so much to the people at Littleton Coin Company and to our listeners for supporting them.
That is important.
It really is. It really is.
But they're a sponsor.
They are a sponsor.
So we love them.
We love them.
And people will, and I'm sure somebody is going to go, wow, just the other day, I found a coin. I didn't know what to do with it.
I didn't know what to do with it.
You know what? This is really going to sound weird.
Yeah.
But I have some coins. And I found them the other day, and I was like, my son is Max. Max, what do I do with these? And he has them sitting on his dresser, so maybe you should give me that piece of paper.
Coin. Okay. You're welcome to it. Yeah, I'll give that to you on your way out.
All right.
There you go, Littleton Coin. One down. So, speaking of your son, Max,
yes,
I have to imagine a highlight for little Max was when he was, if my math is correct here, and it might not be, 6 or 7 years old. His mom is in Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Max was never really into anything I did.
You're letting me down, Max.
I mean, I think it was pretty cool, but again, you know, it was, I'm his mom.
Right.
And so...
But you didn't look like his mom in that movie.
No, I did not. And I think he thought it was funny, but it's not like, I think kids just want their parents and their mom. And it's not like he's not like, now he's very proud of me. I mean, this whole Emmy thing, he can't stop saying enough of it. I mean, he's such a great great kid. And but I don't think so. I mean, I remember bringing him on the set of Austin Powers. You know, I think he's more, when I would bring him on the set to things, for him it was more about, where's craft services?
A boy after my own heart.
And he was the one too that I used to, you know, would read him books and stories before he went to bed, and I would do all the voices, and at one point he was just, Mom, please, just do your own voice. And I was like, are you kidding me? And I would get mad at him, like, are you how lucky you are?
People pay top dollar for this kind of entertainment.
It was just, that wasn't his thing.
All right.
So I'll have to ask him. That's I love how you put that together, because of course I'm thinking, I doubt it.
Yeah.
But maybe he was back then. I don't know.
Well, then if he wasn't excited, I certainly was, and I would love to hear about your experience on that.
Well,
you played Clarinella.
Yes, and you had to wear, you know, there was a thing that covered here with the nose, and it took 3 hours.
Every morning, 3 hours.
To put on. Yeah. And, you know, for some people, they had a hard time breathing out these nostrils because they weren't directly, and you had to put like straws in. I didn't have that problem, but it was still, I'm very claustrophobic, so it was a little harder for me. And, I mean, that was like, you know, I got to meet, you know, Ron Howard.
Ron Howard, yeah.
Who is the loveliest and the sweetest man, and you know, he's an actor's director, and so it was such a great experience, other than having those masks, like those, you know, things on. And but what a wonderful group of people. We were part of the village, the Whoville people, and it was a very big experience.
And you got to shoot that here in LA.
Yay.
All the Universal backlot. It was the largest single set they'd ever made on any studio space.
It was fantasy. It was just, you walked in the set, it was just everybody and everything was like you've never seen it before. It was just awesome.
Yeah. Do you have any good fun stories with Ron Howard? Or was it mostly business stuff, and you talked about the character?
Yeah. Okay. He I just remembered that we had to shoot the same scene a lot. I'm not sure why, but a lot.
Was it one specific scene, or every scene was again and again and again?
Yes, he did like to shoot a lot. And Jim Carrey was not as playful as I thought he was, just because it was not comfortable for him.
Sure, yeah. He was in the full body thing every day.
And I'll tell you what though, when he got on set, he was incredibly professional. He was prepared. He played within what he needed to do, but it wasn't like he hung out with us and talked. Yeah. You know, not on set or tried to make us laugh. It was he was doing his business, and I really respected that.
Yeah. I haven't had to do a whole prosthetic thing, but I've worn little bits here and there, and when it's that uncomfortable and you're getting it put on at 5 in the morning, and you know this is not coming off until 8 o'clock tonight, you kind of have to find your zen place so that you can get through the day.
Absolutely.
And so for a lot of actors, that's not kibitzing and hanging out between takes. It's you go to your focused zone so that you can get through the rest of the day without ripping that thing off of your face and having a nervous breakdown.
And for me, it was about, I had to like be distracted.
So that's your zen place.
So that was my place. But and some people they all had their own stuff. But I remember one day we had a long day, probably 12 hours that we were in that, and we never worked.
Oh.
So it just was one of those things. But that's where you met and got together and hung out with people that were also in the same situation, so that you can get.
How was it at lunch?
Well, I remember my friend Tim Bagley came and and sat with me and had lunch, and we were all sitting there. Of course, we're all used to it. We're talking, and he just sort of looked at me, and he's just laughing, and I'm like,
"What?" A bunch of
Mindy, do you have any idea how hard this is to look at you? And you've got this prosthetic on your face, and you're just talking, and I'm looking across, and everybody is a Who. Everybody is a cartoon.
That's fantastic.
And so it was kind of funny.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's, I remember seeing it and thinking at the time, since I was already acting, I just remember looking at the movie and thinking, wow, what a spectacle, and what an insane nightmare of logistics it must have been to shoot this thing.
Yeah.
And I'm very glad that you had a good time on it.
I'm so glad I was part of something. I have done so many holiday movies that it's lovely, because then, when it comes up, you're going to get residuals.
Every year. That's what people.
I've done Christmas. I mean, tons of Christmas movies. It's fabulous.
They could not be more popular. So I've put off the big guns long enough.
All right.
If we can, let's talk about Austin Powers and Frau Verbissina.
Yes. Oh, you got it right.
Thank you. Well, Yiddish in my background is...
Okay, it helps.
It helps. It definitely helps. In fact, according to the internets, Frau Verbissina's name comes from the Yiddish word verbissen, which is usually used in conjunction with punim, meaning face. So a verbissene punim describes a dour, pinched, or forbidding face.
Or sour.
Or sour, yeah.
That's what I heard too, yes. So and I certainly had that.
Yes, you certainly did.
I did not know that name until, later into it, but yes, no. Right. That's what I loved about, Mike and how he created stuff. So, yeah, that was me. And like one of my favorite moments is when they go back in time, and Rob Lowe is the younger version of Robert Wagner,
right?
And I'm the same.
Has not changed.
I was the same, back then. Yes, I didn't age at all. I look exactly the same.
That is one of my favorite gags from the time traveling aspect. Now. It seems like...
I don't know if there's going to be a fourth. I know everybody asks
I was not going to ask, because I know you've been asked that. And
we don't know.
When people ask me, are they going to do a Freaks and Geeks reunion? I'm like, I guarantee you I'm not the first person who would know the answer to that question.
I know, but I think they just want you, they're so dying to hear you go, well, you didn't hear from me.
Right. I would be the first person to sign on.
Yes, same
but
here.
I would be the last person they told.
I know.
So this character, the Dr. Evil character, came out of a thing that Mike Myers was doing. Was it at the Groundlings?
He did it. Yeah, he had done. He was doing like a special show. He was going to try out
a bunch of characters.
Yes, he was. And the one that I remember was Austin Powers.
Austin Powers.
And so he had put together a couple of us who did improv there. I think I was the only girl there. Myself, Patrick Bristow, Steve Hibbert. I'm not sure if there was anybody else. And just to kind of support him and help out with this thing.
Right.
So I'm assuming I did maybe Frau. I don't remember. I think I might have done a German character. I don't know if it was given our name. But I know that when he was doing and casting for Austin Powers, he wanted me for Frau. But I still had to come in and audition because New Line didn't know me. I didn't have a name. And so they had to okay it.
Right.
And they did.
Yes, they did. And
so I was very excited.
It is exciting. And isn't that always the way when you're there from day one on a thing, and then you get to that point, then your friend's like, oh, it's going to be so great. You do have to audition, though.
Yeah.
You do. There's nothing I can do about that.
Yeah. And those are always hard. And then you don't always get them.
And you don't always get it.
Horrible. Because you feel like I've done something completely wrong, which we haven't.
Right.
It's just in their vision, you were not the one that and it's a business.
Yeah.
A lot of times it's like, no, I think we want this person because they just got off. It's a money-making thing. So
yes, but
I don't know what that means.
I'm very glad. The fans are eternally grateful that it worked out.
Oh my gosh, me too.
That it worked out properly. Now, speaking of the voice, your dad helped you find that German voice?
Well, my dad was really great with dialects.
Yeah.
And so I remember calling him and going, Dad, I got to do this German character. And then he would do a little bit. And I was so afraid I was going to, start off like that and then, turn Jewish, which is very easy for me. So, no, he gave me, kind of a little bit of, thoughts behind it. So, and whatever came out of my mouth is going to come out of my mouth. So the good thing is that it all worked out.
It certainly did. Now, let's see, the yelling. Frau became very famous for her yelling.
Yes, well, that is a little bit of Mindy yelling. That is what I do. And because when I yell, I think as the years have gone on, I have a deeper voice. So, but I also have, I don't know, I think it's allergies. I really do. I think it's allergies where I go down here. And, but when I scream or when I yell, I mean, really yell, it's pitchy.
Oh, it's pitchy, dog. Yeah.
And so the first couple of times I did that, they loved it. It was hysterical, and it wasn't I was doing anything different. And to this day, the one way that I can get my son to laugh at me, the one way, though we do laugh a lot, but I will yell at him, but it will be fun because it would be like, well, we're going into the garage of my home, and I'm getting ready to park my car, but I always have to have him get out so I don't slam the car door, and I will just look at him, and he's on his phone, and I'll just I'll stop and I'll just look at him and I'll go, get out of the car! And he giggles, and I just love that. And so then I'll just, and then that, and then it's just, and he can still giggle.
Yeah.
I can still make him laugh by doing that.
That's great. But that was not really in the script. It didn't. Well,
it would say like yell.
Right, but not like that. That was.
No, that was my yell.
That was your yell.
Yeah, I mean. And then when I did the numbers, I mean, and the countdown. I mean, then it's just funnier because it's ridiculous. And so I love when he was just like, start at 30. Or, no, you know what? Start at 10. All right, you know what? When the doors just say, I don't know what my last thing, it closed.
Right.
It just, I mean, all of that he worked off of. And we didn't really, and everybody asks me about improvising. He did a lot of improvising. He played. The great thing about Mike is, every take was a little different. And I learned that about him. I thought, when we're doing movies, because you do a lot more takes, add a little something to it. Just every little take, don't completely change everything. But I think it should be, unless the director says do exactly the same thing. But sometimes it's fun to just add a little something. They have choices.
Yeah.
And so he would do brilliant things that would just go on and on and on. And you'd have to just try not to, and you hear everybody just holding on to it, so that when Jay Roach yelled "cut," you're like dying, dying.
Yeah, the most of the stuff with between Mike and Seth Green, with the Zip It, those were all
they played,
all play,
and a lot of the stuff with us, I mean, I would do things like and he would go back and forth. So it was little things. It wasn't like
the Lucky Charms riff was all you.
I did.
Yep.
They had a script, then it was just like, just play Mindy.
Yeah.
So I did all the candies. It's like much the kids think, this is good, it's candy, but it's not.
That will always make me laugh. So there was a scene. I know you've talked about this at least once before. In terms of they shot a lot, and sometimes stuff would be very funny. There was the shark eating scene, culminated with. It turned out to be very violent for all the characters watching, and so then they got upset from the violence, and so then there was a lot of vomiting.
Projectile vomiting, where it is the funniest thing, and you're going like this.
They have the tube running up you.
So you are and we're all one at a time vomiting, and I hear that they showed it in the theaters,
and to a test audience,
and people were getting sick, so they had to take it out.
Yeah.
Isn't that like wild?
I mean, you hear about things like, the audience got sick, but you think about like, it was a gory horror film or a slasher film, and they went over the line. This was the silliest comedy movie of the year.
So, I mean, it was just streaming out. And that is, and people were getting queasy. Is that funny?
And so not in the movie.
I know,
Gone.
and I love that scene,
Out. Can you confirm or deny this internet thing that I read that said Colin Quinn was offered the role of Scott Evil before Seth came on board. Do you have any knowledge of this?
Not at all.
It is what I call an unconfirmed internet rumor.
Wow, that would have been interesting.
It would have been a very different film for sure, and I think we're all very happy with the way it worked out.
Yeah. But isn't that funny?
But isn't that one of those things? And I when I read it, I went no, and then I went.
I'd never heard of that. I've never heard of that.
I mean, they knew each other
from
that, so it's entirely possible. But I guess all right, that will remain
very interesting.
That will remain
never did hear that.
A Snopes unconfirmed.
Yep.
Internet rumor. Now we have a segment on the show called Famous Questions.
Okay.
And that is not well-known questions. That is questions that are asked of you.
About me or about anything?
About you.
Oh, Lordy. Okay.
And they were asked by our famous friends.
Okay.
Who also know you.
Famous friends meaning?
Famous people.
Okay. Oh. Okay.
Yeah. Actors.
Okay. Oh, them.
Them. Showbiz types. So I put out the signal flare to a couple of my famous pals who I know that you've worked with over the years.
Really? Oh,
and
nice.
so I'm gonna ask you the question, and then you can guess who you think asked it. Although I think this first one will be fairly obvious. Although maybe not. And then
I'm really good. I have a feeling I'm not good at this.
No,
okay.
it's okay.
All right.
I will say this. Neither of the people who responded to me put much effort into the phrasing of their questions, but I think the questions are still good nonetheless.
Okay.
So the first question wants to know, says, make sure to ask Mindy about shooting her leather bondage scene in Goldmember.
I have not a clue.
You have not a clue who asked it?
No.
Well, that would be our pal Seth Green.
Oh, baby! Wow, okay. Because he wasn't even involved in it, yes.
Right. He wasn't involved in it, but clearly he knows something that I don't. So
I don't know. What did ask Mindy about that? Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, it was pretty, my outfit was pretty wild.
Yes, it was.
But was that the first one?
No, that was the third one.
Oh, Jesus.
That was 2001.
Did I do something with him in it? I don't know.
No.
Oh, Seth, what happened? I don't know.
That's you know what? Clue. That's fine. We'll have to have him back on the show, and then I'll ask him.
Please do. Yeah.
Okay, that's okay.
Okay.
The second question is not Austin Powers related, and it's another quick one. Which did you name first, your pet or your child?
My pet.
Your pet.
My pet. I had a cat. I've always had cats, and I had a cat named Max.
Yep.
And I loved Max, and Max had passed. And when I got my son's adopted. When I got my son, there was a series of names, and I was just like, I just like Max. I love my cat. So I named Max.
You named Max.
So he's named after my cat. But then I realized that my father's father was Max. So it all worked out.
It's all.
Wow.
That's wonderful.
So now I have to guess who.
Who might have asked you that?
My son?
No.
I have not a clue.
That's a very tough one to guess.
Yeah.
No, Phil Lamar.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, because there's nothing how would I connect that with Phil?
There's no way you can connect that with Phil.
Oh, Phil, you're cute.
Yeah, he was.
But he knew. I love that. He knew.
He did know to ask that of you. And Max is a great name. It's my brother's name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it Maxwell or Max?
It is Maxwell.
Yeah, mine's Max.
Okay. For a minute, I told him to pretend it was Maximilian.
Oh.
Just tell people it's Maximilian. He said, I'm not going to write that down.
No. Okay.
It's too long, too lengthy.
No.
Are you good on water?
Yes, I am.
Okay, good.
I got that question right.
You certainly did. So there was, speaking of mothering, more recently you were on a television series, a far too short-lived television series, in my opinion, where you got to play a pretty awesome mom. The TV show Legit, with friend of the chat show, Jim Jeffries.
Oh,
remember how much we loved Jim when he came on the show?
I loved working with him.
Yeah.
Even though he teased me relentlessly. Oh, he was horrible to me, but it was fun. He would go around and he would say things like, all right, so, and I can't do his accent. It's like, so, so we're going to, who's the best actor on the set? And I was always the last. He always put me the last. And then he teased me because I would, have, we'd go for for lunch, and all this wonderful food, and I always brought food back for my son, so I would bring him dinner.
Sure.
And she would be like, "What are you doing?" And I go, "This is for my son." So I get home and he has dinner, and so then it became like, "Everybody, give your extra food to Mindy. She's bringing it to her son." So I was like his big sister. He loved to tease, but I loved him, and I loved that show. And I am so sorry that it just did not get and was given more opportunity, because there are people that loved it, and there was so much to say about it, and the actors were superb.
Yeah, your boys on the show, played by DJ Qualls and Dan Bacadol.
Oh, yes.
The Nugent family.
Yes, wow.
Which, did you know Jim Jeffries' birth name
is Nugent? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I knew that. I mean, I think it was after a while, and I don't know. Yeah, somebody had told me about that, but no, it was such a great piece for Jim, and he really grew on the show. He really grew to become this, really kind of exceptional man and actor, and he was really, and it was just funny, and it was sad, and it was really, really tender, and other than DJ, they really cast all of these disabled people on the show, and they were wonderful and brilliant, and oh god, it really was a very special time.
Yeah, it was a show that was ahead of its time, I think, and it was on FXX, and I think it's got to be on some streaming.
Well, I think it's Netflix.
Or it's got to be on Netflix at least, or I'm sure you could probably find it on the FX app. I don't see why they would sell themselves short in getting more eyeballs that way.
Right.
And if you haven't seen it, you guys should watch it. It was decidedly un-PC.
Yeah.
So
so inappropriate.
If you are offended easily, this is not the show for you. But if you have an evolved sense of humor, I recommend you check it out. They covered a lot of tough topics.
Yes, they did.
And it was a great show. And I actually auditioned for not the DJ Qualls role, the Dan Bacadol
role
for that pilot. And at the time I was 30 or something, and I remember reading and I was like, he's supposed to be like 35 to 45. What am I doing here?
Well, hello, Dan. I mean, I'm a little older than Dan.
No,
but
I looked it up. You're like 16 years older than Dan. It was
ridiculous.
It's nothing.
Okay.
It's nothing.
So again, it's like, all that went out the window. We never justified any of that. Yes.
Yeah, very.
I know, because I kept going, I'm playing Dan's mother. All right.
Yeah, Dan is, and we love Dan. No spring chicken.
Oh my God. Yeah. Dan was, he's so good at what he does now, and he's so amazing and on Veep.
On Veep, he's one of my favorite characters on Veep.
And he was the same on Legit. He was the actor. And DJ too. We just formed this incredible friendship, and of course, now no one talks to me, but that's, showbiz.
When the show goes off.
It's over. Everybody goes off on their own thing. But no, I do have a very soft spot for that show. I really loved it.
Yeah, I loved it too, and I was very sorry to see it go.
Thanks,
but you were fantastic on it. Hey, Jamal, it occurred to me before I moved off of the Austin Powers stuff, if we had any great questions from the chat room, or if you wanted to ask anything of our guest about Austin Powers before he moved off of it, I wanted to give you the chance.
Now, I will say, though, that I saw that movie twice in theaters. And
which one? Because there's three.
One,
okay.
No, the original one.
Okay.
I saw it twice in theaters, and I handmade my own Austin Powers costume that Halloween. Like, it came out in the summer, so that Halloween, my best friend and I, she was Mrs. Kensington. I was Austin Powers.
Oh my God.
A male friend of mine, and at the time was Dr. Evil. We handmade these costumes, like we pieced together from, like now you can buy the costume anywhere, like a bag, but this is like you pieced it together from stuff we could like find at like thrift stores, and it had just come out, I think, like on VHS.
Yes.
At that time. So it was like, that's when it was really starting to rev up.
Well, that's, because it took that time to do that.
The video was what exploded. Yeah.
And everyone was so impressed with our costume.
Oh, God, you have pictures?
Oh. This was back when you couldn't take
That's true.
Right.
Yeah,
you had to bring a camera.
Back in 1997.
That's true. Oh my God, that's true.
But I'm certain she does. My best friend's half Korean. She probably has.
Oh yeah, she's held on to it.
She's got fun.
Yeah. Oh, that is so cool. Wow.
Yeah.
It made an impact.
I knew it was a gem that no one was quite catching on
Yep.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for adding that. They're telling me from the crow's nest. Oh, never mind. Oh, her mic was off. Is that what was the problem?
No, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't off. It was fine.
Absolutely.
Look, if anyone has any audio problems with this show, please write to Bob Saget at Twitter. Let Bob Saget know that we're having audio problems. I know he cares about that sort of thing.
Oh, God love him.
So I dropped Larry David's name many hours ago, it seems like, which was coincidental because you played a nurse on the season 6 finale of Curb Your Enthusiasm.
You are good.
I don't fuck around, Mindy.
You are good. I mean, everything is so precise because sometimes people will get things wrong, but you are good. No, everybody wanted to do that show.
Yeah.
And I just could not. Everybody auditioned, but finally I got a part. And he was a doll.
Yeah.
Did you ever work with him?
I have worked with him. Yeah, I didn't do Curb, but I did a table read with him for Fish in the Dark, his Broadway show. The first table read he ever did of it was out here in LA, and he asked me to be a part of it, which was amazing. And I've kept in touch with him since.
Oh, you have? Oh, I have.
Yeah. He is the sweetest guy.
He really is.
He's a really nice guy.
He was so sweet to me. And so I played this nurse where he comes in. And I don't remember what it was, but he wanted to talk to the doctor. And this always happens because all this stuff is stuff that we can relate to.
Yeah.
And as the nurse, you come in and you go, "Hi, okay, so what are you here for?" I'll just wait until the doctor, gets in to go, "Well, okay, I just have to write this down." So, but you got to write it down, and then I'm going to have to tell the doctor again because even though you wrote it, which is so true.
100%.
So we go around and around, and it's like, look, I really need to do my job. I needed and then he finally says something like, "Okay, so I have a gerbil up my ass."
Right.
And then I'm pretty much like, "Okay, thank you," and leave. But it was so interesting, and it's hard because you have to try not to be funny as him,
right?
Because it's his funniness that makes it all work. So you're really there to support him and give him.
You were the straight man.
But I had the best time.
Oh, good.
It was a really good experience for me, and I mean, the one thing that I never got to be on that everybody I know was on was Seinfeld.
Oh.
Did you do a Seinfeld?
No, okay. I'm too young.
Oh,
I wasn't.
All right,
it went off in '98. I didn't come out to LA till '99. I missed it by 1 year.
Oh, so yeah, that was the only one that I like. When you're like, God, I didn't get to do that one, but I did get to do a Curb, so I'm proud of that.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's great. That episode, which was the finale of that year, and that's the end of the storyline with Loretta and everything. That's a great finale. The episode is called The Bat Mitzvah.
Oh, really?
And,
okay.
And if you're looking to revisit an old episode of Curb for laughs, check that one out.
Oh, that's interesting. The Bat Mitzvah. Okay.
Yeah. Let's talk about the project that you and I worked on, which I feel bad talking about because we can talk about it, but no one can see it.
I know.
So I feel bad teasing that. But let's talk about it a little bit, and then when it eventually is, people can see it. I'll have you back on. So it's a project called "I'd Like to Be Alone Now," which we shot for about $8.
Yes.
Last summer here in LA.
In the director's house.
In the director's home, the writer-director's home.
Yes.
We shot, and this is a film where all of the action takes place in the house, and it is immediately following the funeral for my character's wife and children who have
died in a car crash.
And he's got this big Jewish family. Emphasis on the
I think I'm the only Jew that really was. You and I were the only Jews.
You and I were the only Jews in that entire movie, and there's quite a bit of Jewish stuff going on.
Yes, that is true.
But nonetheless, the writer-director happens to be pretty Jewish himself.
Yes.
But anyway, so it's the immediately following the funeral. We're all back at the house, and he's got this big crazy family with all their own nonsense going on. And so then my character just decides, I can't deal with this right now, and literally goes into the master bedroom and boards up the door. And so then the bulk of the story is the following days and weeks.
How we deal with you
Right.
in that room by yourself.
Being in the room alone, not coming out into the living room, and the whole family deciding, well, I guess we kind of have to stay here or take shifts. Someone has to be here at all times to make sure something terrible doesn't happen. And so the bulk of the movie is how all of their relationships change because of the inability to...
I think right there that is such a great story.
Yeah.
I mean, that I think, again, is what turned me on to it.
Yeah.
I love just what it's about. I love that story. It's so different and dark. I love dark humor.
Very dark.
Very dark humor. And what a great cast of people.
Tremendous cast. Let's see, who do we got in the cast? We got our pal Chris Masterson, Vanessa Lenges, Grammer, Spencer Grammer,
David.
What's David's last name?
It's David Finn.
Finn, you got it.
Finn?
Well done, Mindy.
David
Finn, who's a magnificent actor, British, and you wouldn't know it.
Wouldn't know it. I went to see him start in School of Rock in London.
Yeah.
Like last year.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
And Carl McDowell and your husband, played by
Jack McGee.
Jack McGee, who is one of the best.
Yeah, great. Yeah. So it was an
Great
amazing cast, and everybody, again, we did it because we loved it. We loved the script. We loved the parts. We loved, we wanted to work. So, I just hope that something goes with it, because I think it's a really funny little
And if I don't say Michael Piper Uni, he would cry, and I don't want to make that happen. Because we almost cited everyone and forgot him, and we could never forget him.
Love
He's
him.
a joy and a delight.
Yes.
And John DeBach is the name of the writer-director of this film.
Yes.
And he is a super talented guy, and I know we're all hoping to work with him more.
Yep.
And so again, the name of this film is I'd Like to Be Alone Now, and look for it in a festival near you in 2018, maybe, hopefully. But I will certainly not be shy about letting people know when they can see that.
Yes.
Well,
wow.
Mindy, can you believe it's been just about 90 minutes?
That's 3 days.
And the problem is, this is barely the tip of the iceberg.
Really? There would be more?
You have. Do I need to go through this again? There's so much here. There's so much. You did. Let's see. So you were in an episode of School of Rock. We didn't talk about Ant Farm. I did an episode of Grace and Frankie. Let's see. Euro Trip.
Oh God.
Ooh, Old Woman in Confessional, uncredited.
Yeah.
Was it uncredited by friend asked and you said no credit, it's a favor?
No, I don't know.
Or did they say, do you want to go unbilled? And you were like, sure.
I think my agent said at that time, like, yeah, we don't need your name.
I've done that.
I don't know.
I've gone unbilled.
What does that mean again, exactly?
So it just means your name's not in the end credits.
But why?
Well, the way it would basically make it more of a cameo thing, like as if to say, normally an actor of this stature would not take such a small part in a film, but they'll do it because they're uncredited and it's just a fun cameo because presumably they
they got me to look like 80. You know,
well, that's a stretch.
Yes, and I was 80, and I was Italian. So, and I was literally watching this young couple naked, and all over each other, and it was, for Mindy, it was really uncomfortable. You know, it'd be and action. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was interesting.
Showbiz. Gotta love it.
Crazy.
Now, I know I told you that I can't let you get out of here.
Uh-oh, here we go.
Until you give us a Larry King game.
Okay.
Are you prepared with your Larry King game, or do you need a minute?
I think I guess I can sort of do it. So I have to do, yes.
It's a bad Larry King impression, not
bad.
a good one. You're going to give us that TMI moment of Larry, just some random thought that pops into his million-year-old brain.
Right, okay.
Right before he throws to the phones, and when he throws to the phones, if the name of the city happens to be funny, not going to hurt.
Okay.
And then you're going to do
in
it
that
right
order.
Down, in that order, and you're going to look right down the barrel of your lens when you're ready.
Do I say I'm Larry King?
Sure.
I'm Larry King. In about 20 minutes, we've got a great guest, my ex-wife, one of them. And is that dog poo, or is that carpet just been washed? It smells the same. All right. And all right, you Silverton, Minnesota, you're on.
There you go. It's that easy. Anyone can play anytime.
You must have fun ones.
We have had some fun ones. Jamie Foxx is the creator of Larry King.
Silly. I made it up. I think Larry King was like on TV one day, and Kevin came into the room, and I just did this bit, and it became a thing. It became a fun parlor trick.
There you go. And so now we have a long-standing tradition in a game of the show.
I love it.
And now that you have done that, I have nothing else to say. But thank you so much, Mindy.
Thank you,
This
Sam.
was wonderful sitting down with you and chatting about stuff.
So nice to be around you again.
Lovely, lovely. So please sit there for 60 seconds while I wrap things up.
Okay.
For the folks at home. Well, that is it, ladies and Jews and gentlemen and germs. All of the chat show that you can stand for this Sunday. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. I just want to thank the wonderful chat show crew who we could not do the show without. In no particular order, Jason McIntyre up in the Crow's Nest, Dr. Kenny Chen, Brad Register, Luke Allen, Jaden Fox on makeup, Corey Levin on post, of course, the magnificent and fantastic Jamie Foxx, and
Jamie Foxx.
Yep, the real Jamie Foxx. I want to thank the folks over here at the West Side Theater for hosting us, and of course, Mr. Chat Show himself, Kevin Pollak, for traveling the world.
Who's at home with the cat currently?
What's that?
He's at home with our cat.
He's at home
currently.
with Edie. 400% more Edie, and
That's her hashtag if you want to follow her on Instagram.
200% more of me talking about cats. So that is it from all of us here at Chat Show headquarters. So until next time, fuck off.